Hey, what's up guys? I'm Jared Poirier, and welcome to my movie review show where I talk about movies. Okay, so I'm gonna let you guys know right away that this video is not going to be as much fun as some of my other videos. This is a pretty serious movie and it covers some pretty serious topics. So yeah, you're not going to find a whole lot of jokes in this video. If you want to watch something a little more fun, maybe go check out my review of Avengers Infinity War. And also, before we get into my review of Sicario 2 here, I should let you guys know that there are going to be some spoilers for Sicario and some spoilers for Sicario 2 in this review. Alright, so let's get right into it. This movie was directed by Stefano Sollima and not Denis Villeneuve, who directed the first movie, but it is written by the same writer as the first Sicario movie, and that is of course Taylor Sheridan. And this movie stars Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro. So I was actually a pretty big fan of the first Sicario movie. I thought that it dealt with the whole topic of Mexican drug cartels and the American government's response to those cartels in a pretty intriguing way. I also really enjoyed Emily Blunt's performance in this movie. I thought that she really added a humanity to this film, and I thought that her presence in this film was absolutely essential as like the kind of audience standing character, the person who's reacting to all the violence and immorality that's going on around her. In what I would consider to be a pretty normal way. But yeah, going into Sicario 2 here, I was a little bit worried about the lack of Emily Blunt. I thought that if this was just a movie about Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro murdering and torturing people, it might not be that interesting a film. And I was also a little bit worried because this new director isn't nearly as accomplished as Denis Villeneuve. But I was nonetheless willing to give this movie a shot, and I was excited to see where they take this story. So is Sicario 2 a worthy sequel? Let's find out. So basically my argument in this entire video revolves around this point right here. And that's the fact that, in my opinion, a movie can be well made and still be completely off base with its message. Such a film can still be considered a good movie, but a good movie, that is wrong. Sicario 2 is exactly such a movie. So this video is going to be divided into two parts. The first part is going to be explaining why Sicario Day of the Soldado is a good movie, how it's well made, and the second part is going to be explaining why Sicario 2 is wrong. Essentially why this movie, in my opinion, delivers completely the wrong message. Okay, so let's start with the things that make this a good movie. The acting in this movie is super solid. Josh Brolin has a really great screen presence in this movie and a lot of charisma. Del Toro, for his part, is really believable as like this broken man who's lost his family and everyone that he loves. Honestly, all the acting in this movie is good. Even the kid actors are good. I also want to talk a little bit about the music, because music is used very effectively in Sicario 2. The way that music is utilized here is very similar to how it's used in the first movie, but I think that it maintains a lot of its effect. The music is loud, booming, and overwhelming at times, but it always follows the pace of the movie, and it actually does a lot for your immersion as an audience member. The cinematography in this movie is also pretty great. The movie as a whole is very well shot. There's pretty interesting composition in most scenes, and I thought that the camera movements were often very slow and deliberate. There's also a few shots in this that reference the first movie. Basically, they use similar camera techniques. And yeah, I really enjoyed the variety of shots that are utilized here. Okay, so that's going to be it for the good stuff in this movie. Now we're going to get into why this movie is wrong. So what do I mean when I say that Sicario Day of the Soldado is wrong? Well, basically I'm saying that this movie really delivers the wrong message. Just to be clear, I am not arguing that the events presented in this movie are not hypothetically possible. Could terrorists utilize human trafficking networks in order to carry out deadly attacks on civilians? Absolutely they could. Could the US government use those attacks as a justification for their own overreach and atrocities? Absolutely they could. The problem with Sicario Day of the Soldado is not that it presents these events in an unrealistic way. The problem with Sicario 2 is how this movie wants you to feel about these events. And I think that the best way to explain this is to basically go into how our movie treats our two main characters here, Josh Brolin's character and Del Toro's character. So let's look at Brolin here. He tortures and kills people, but it's always for a reason. There's always some type of justification. He's not necessarily a hero, but he's definitely not a villain either. Brolin kills a lot of people in this movie, but it's not like he has no moral compass whatsoever. He doesn't kill women and children, and he arguably redeems himself, at least in the movie's eyes, by his actions towards the end of the film. And let's also look at Benicio del Toro here. So his character isn't really presented in that negative a light either. He is definitely driven by revenge, and he murders a lot of people and does a whole lot of immoral things, but I don't think that this movie is necessarily condemning him 100%. In fact, I think this movie wants us to feel sorry for him, and actually it expects us to find it very believable, some of the stuff that he does towards the end of the movie. And when you look at these two characters, well, who are they? They're murderers, they commit all types of atrocities, they commit war crimes, they kill a bunch of teenagers, but does the movie outright condemn them? Well, no, it doesn't. In fact, I think you can argue that the movie basically tries to justify them by presenting the threat of terrorism the way that it does. So when you think about it, the assertion that this movie is really making is that you can murder, kill, torture, all sorts of horrible and immoral things, and you can still maintain some part of your moral center, some part of your soul. So I think that in that respect, this film has many of the same ideological problems as films like Zero Dark 30. Alright, so now it's time for my final thoughts on Sicario, Day of the Soldado. And as I stated earlier in this review, I don't think that you can say that this is a bad movie. I think that it's a good movie that's wrong. Yes, this film is well shot, it's well acted, it has a pretty interesting story, and some interesting cinematography as well. But for me, many of this film's better qualities just couldn't make me overlook the fact that it supports a very problematic ideology. And I think that there are many movies out there that tackle the subject of war in a much more interesting, thought-provoking, and even essential way. One such movie that comes to mind is Full Metal Jacket. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Have you seen Sicario 2? What did you guys think about it? Please let me know down in the comments. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to follow me on all the bullshits at Jared R. Poirier. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I will see you guys next time.